Everyone, and welcome to PHAMCAST during Preventative Health Awareness Month. I'm Margaret Wallis Duffy, the visionary and founder of the Preventative Health Movement, and I am so excited because I got to tell you, this month has been epic so far, and today's no different because we've got another special guest on the show with us today, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read a proper introduction to this special guest. So today I'm thrilled to introduce a true expert in the field of aging in place and falls prevention. Jim Close, with over 34 years of experience managing, distributing, educating, and launching innovative products and services. Jim's work has always been focused on the preventative side, aiming to make lives easier and safer. Throughout his career, Jim has been involved in everything from million-dollar projects to intimate strategy meetings, and from corporate mandates to family kitchen conversations. I love that. His work spans across the globe, connecting with colleagues and clients from all walks of life. He finds true satisfaction in knowing that he helps people not by offering quick fixes, but by listening, connecting the dots, and making a meaningful impact. In 2023, Jim co-founded Care Tech Solutions with Candice Cartier, a company focused on delivering clinical technologies in a way that eliminates the need for operators to invest heavily in capital expenditure or training. The innovative CareFall technology provides portable assessments for gait, cognitive, and hearing health, offering objective data that helps personalize care and reduce costs through targeted interventions. Join me as we dive into this conversation with Jim, whose dedication to improving safety and quality of life for individuals is truly inspiring. Welcome to the show.
Wow, I don't have to say anything now. That's it. That's all that's there. Well, I'm glad you I'm glad you liked the kitchen table chat thing, because that came to me some time ago. But it's true. I think most of the impact that I've had or I've felt is really sitting around a kitchen table with families and discussing what project we were taking on, whether it was renovating a bathroom or putting in a stair lift, or just talking in general about what has happened. So early in my career we were brought into clients that had already established or had a fall or were part of a disease state. Certainly we started bantering, a lot of people started bantering the word prevention, but realized that we're preventing things after they've already happened. So to your point of creating preventative health, we really have to shift it upriver and try to stop that. I don't think we're going to stop everybody from falling or anybody from getting going into a disease state that changes their lives. But if we can gather the data, if we can gather the knowledge and put it into play, we have a much better chance of that happening.
You betcha. And we dive more into this conversation. Some context here, Jim, because you and I have met just recently, but both of us, University of Waterloo, kinesiology backgrounds, both of us a passion for healthy aging. I've got my professional designation in aging. Your career speaks for itself. And like you said, impacting real lives in a real way. Of course, we can't prevent all falls or issues from happening. But if we start to have these more in-depth conversations and we start to empower the average Canadian, which is why I loved what you said about kitchen table conversations, that's what this is about. Sitting at the table and talking about how we stock the toolbox of Canadians and how we all have to play a role in that. Everyday Canadians, government, businesses, insurance companies. We really have to start talking about changing the narrative and being innovative. And that's why I was so excited when we were connected. And thanks to one of our connections and another FAMbassador, Lauren, which, she's been on the show, Back in Action, and the Institute for Science and Health Performance. These conversations matter. So let's talk a little bit about that innovation and kind of what you're doing now when it comes to improving the health span and the quality of life of the aging population.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take a wee step back. And Candice Chartier and I have known each other for well over 30 years in business sense and in the healthcare specter. And when we reconnected about a year and a half ago, we realized at the Collision Conference in Toronto, which is a huge tech conference that covers all kinds of technology, but health tech was part of it. And in our wandering around the show floor and starting to discuss with people that were presenting health tech, there's a couple things that came out of it. First of all, is wow, these things are great. And the second was these companies have a lot. Most of them were very small startups with grand ideas, and they had a lot of frustration trying to enter the Canadian healthcare market. Well, with our business side of things and operational side of things, we said, wouldn't it be great if we could be that project management team company that would bind some of these things together, some of these techs together, and be able to deliver them in an efficient and affordable manner. Because obviously what we've learned over many years of dealing with Canadian healthcare, it's publicly funded. You have to be efficient. You have to be affordable. There is no real understanding of value until after the fact. So the dollar that you charge has to come back in spades to really continue on your business. So based off of that and the senior care and knowing Falls intimately well, both of us, we said let's find technologies that would be better able to predict Falls risk. And then as a sideline, as it's grown over the years, cognitive decline. So the technologies that we use are established. That's the other thing that we have to point out there. We're not actually a research company. We're not gathering this data to prove a point. These technologies have already existed on their own for many years, but nobody has brought them together in a suite to be able to work on the efficiencies of that affordability and the portability of bringing the technologies to the people. And we're starting with long-term care, but we are going to, and we started with a new project this past week of bringing it into the community. And that all plays into the aging in place world, where everybody, 90%, there's 1,000 surveys out that say 90% of us all want to stay in our own homes. That's great, but are you safe enough? What's your risk probability of falling? Even if you modified your home 100% to what you think what is your body telling you? And of course, having that data at a point of time, we will track it. And it's not simply, here's the data, this person's at high risk or this person's at low risk. It's what you do with that data to what we're talking about this morning, which is preventative health. What interventions, be it exercise, diet, or cognitive exercises, which is going to be the next big thing that we present, can be implemented to make that improvement or hold steady on their health. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. I just wanted to ask. So for the viewers at home that may be watching and this is resonating with them, maybe they are aging in place and maybe they are a bit concerned, but what are some of the things that you're looking for when you're saying you're collecting data? What is the data you're collecting that's going to give you that information to give that risk factor that they're at high risk? I think that's really important. People like us in healthcare that, we understand that. But for the average everyday Canadian, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, so a little bit different, and a careful assessment isn't from a traditional falls prevention survey or checklist. I also run Age Safe Canada, which is actually a home safety checklist based off, and falls prevention is part of it, but it's a general safety of the home itself. What Carefall does is actually take the objective qualitative data from our technology. So our first technology is NeuroCatch, which is a company out of Surrey, BC, that has done a world of good with brain injuries and concussions. So that you're basically applying a skull cap to somebody, feeding electrodes. It's an EEG, but how the software interacts with your thought process through a 6-minute test. Person just sits and concentrates. They are fed some tones and some word association, and the software picks up the brainwave activity. And they're able to compare that to normatives, to people with concussion backgrounds, and they found that pre-dementia and cognitive decline also fit in this realm. So that's the data that we collect that are able. So it's basically sensory, attention, cognitive wavelengths. They use a certain brain wave that other technologies of its like haven't done so currently. So the also beauty of this and both our technologies that we're using is it's very portable and affordable. So if you were to try to get a neuropsychologist an EEG test now, you'd have to book a lab time or clinic time, very expensive. And if we're talking about our average 80-year-old that's living in a long-term care home, the inconvenience, support worker, family member that have to take them, and then try to pull the data into a usable format, it's grossly inefficient. So we're able to do that now with technology. We're able to do a 6-minute test and gather that information and use it. So how is it used? We take it and we're working with the care teams. So when we get to aging in place, there will be family members involved in the care team in the community when we do that. When we do it in a long-term care, there's programmers, recreational therapists, nursing that will use that data to do, in the terms of cognition, where our next step will be cognitive rehab, and we'll go on to that. Maybe that'll be another episode when we start to launch those type of exercises and activities, basically a gymnasium for your brain. Right. Our gait analysis is, I guess, to simplify things, it's an iPhone or a smartwatch on steroids. So that the app does live on a phone, slip it in somebody's pocket. They do a few exercises, not exercises. They walk, they do a sit and stand, but the data that's collected there is extremely powerful. There's 25 points of data. So similar to what I just said with the cognitive stuff, that's now collected, given to the care team, and they can now take it and implement planning. So prevention requires intervention in our world. And once the intervention is done, you can track progress every 3, 6, 9 months kind of thing.
You know what, Jim? One of the things that pops into my mind right away, as you know, I have a mother who lives independently at home at 82. My father, till he took his last breath at 88, was living at home. And as a daughter of that, even though I have knowledge, one of the things that really struck me with what we were talking about there is the fact that you involve family, because here's what we want as caregivers or as loved ones of people that are aging in place, is the sense that our loved ones are safe, that we have information to help support them and making right decisions to continue to keep them safe at home. And so thank you for pointing that out, because I think it's a really important piece, that sense of feeling, okay, we're getting more information so that we can act accordingly, make changes where necessary, so that our loved one who's staying at home and aging in place is going to be safe and living as optimally as possible, and preventing, hopefully, catastrophic falls that lead to a cascade of horrible things.
Right. And then even beyond, well, here's a little analogy. When we did our first real pilot around October, November of just this past year, the intervention exercises that came back as recommendations from the cognitive side were very simple, task-orientated games and play. But it was right before Christmas. So the home itself that we were working with involved the families very much and said, well, here, you're looking for Christmas gift ideas? Why don't you get this game or this exercise tool? So resistant bands, and then when you're visiting in a long-term care, you don't necessarily just have to sit and try to draw out a conversation or watch TV. Why don't we play cards? Why don't we play this game? Why don't we watch this video that is all triggering to have the cognitive side? There was some exercise stuff too. That's real life stuff.
It's real life stuff, but it's really important, tangible things. And that's what this movement is about, and what this show is about, is stocking the toolbox of Canadians collectively. And somebody like you as a FAMCAST, can you just very briefly, don't spend a lot of time on it, but an idea of a game that people can be doing with their loved ones? I mean, if that's possible to say without showing.
I mean, a lot of just card games or card sorting games. I mean, it's as simple as that. Even bring them back to their younger lives when they're if it's euchre, if it's if it's bridge, if they can grant, or just simple card sorting like a game of solitaire,
Right.
something that stimulates them more than just watching a repetitive news channel go around through the loop, which happens quite a bit just because of boredom. So that kind of thing. And but trust me, I'm not the expert therapist side of things,
No, I
but
get
this is the feedback that comes back to me.
I love that. I know we
A
don't have
lot of time today, but what else would you like to share about the work that CareFall is doing and the future of the excitement? I know that we've talked, and you're aware of a new bone scan technology that myself and my partner have brought into Canada called Osteosound REMS bone scan, which is portable, looking at assessment. But you're doing some really cool things. Speak to that as well, and what the future is looking like.
Yeah, so when we started CareTech, I mean, we purposely called it that because we want to add more modalities. We can talk bone scanning, we can talk retinal scans, we can talk stroke prevention, constant monitoring in that respect. But our latest partnership is with a company called Personalized Prescribing, which actually does DNA swab tests that will give you feedback on your genetic makeup and how it interacts with your prescription medications. So there's three tests that they can actually do, but the third test is most important in a long-term care in a senior setting, is where there's been current reports coming out of the government that there's been a overprescribing of antipsychotic meds in a long-term care setting. Up to 50% of the people in there are on mental health medication that shouldn't be, or on the wrong ones. This test, a simple swab DNA test, will give such a powerful report. This Canadian company is the only ones that are doing it for mental health drugs. Give you such a detailed report to tell you specifically what medications you should be on, what you shouldn't be on, and how they interact with your other medications. So the two things there. We know if you did any traditional falls prevention checklist, there'll be a broad statement saying, check your medications. But that's as far as it goes. So how does the common person understand that? So now we're taking it a step deeper to say, okay, we can actually check how your genes affect with your medicine. And then we also know that obviously if you're medicated, if you're over medicated, how your body reacts could increase your risk of fall. So we obviously want people to be on the right medications for the indicated health reason they're taking the medication, but we don't want to put them at a risk level where that medication is increasing their falls risk. So it covers a lot of bases there.
I love that.
And what it also does is optimizes their quality of life as well, which is really, really important. And that, to me, is a bigger topic. That's fantastic. Well, the future is bright in all of the work that you're doing, that we're doing collectively in this health span space. We both have a passion for healthy aging and for, really pushing the envelope to change the way we look at this, both at home and in institutions. Jim, I want to thank you for joining us today. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to have you back on because there's a plethora of things that we can dive into. And I really appreciate your time this morning and really hope that we'll have an opportunity to connect again and possibly do some work together. Really honored to have you as a FAMBassador and continue doing the work you're doing. Bravo.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Nice to chat.
All right, everyone.
As you can see, the list continues to grow with the incredible FAMBassadors that are coming to the table with innovation, with research, with new ideas to help improve not just the lifespan, but the health span of Canadians at every age and stage of life. Remember, a healthy tomorrow begins with prevention today. Tune in, share the show, and if you have any questions, reach out to us. We want to hear your voice so we can bring people to this table to help you stock your toolbox so you can be the CEO of your health. From Margaret and everybody here at FAMCAST, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.